Yo guys, Professor Theo here on Common Sense. Today we're kicking off our muscle group specific series where I'll be going through one muscle at a time, trying to keep it quite short and simple, just give my take, my philosophy on how you should approach each muscle for the best muscle growth results. And we're starting with the chest, big pecs, natty. So let's start about, we're talking about the anatomy and function of the chest. I attempted to draw pectoral muscle. I'm not great at drawing, but I think it gets the job done for this lecture. So basically this would be my right pec, right? And it's attached to the upper arm. And the function of the chest is to adduct the upper arm, meaning move it from the outside of the body to the center of the body. Then it's just that usually this is not the only thing we do when we train chest. Often the chest is working synergistically with the shoulders and triceps. So we're going to see movement across more joints like the elbow. But what the chest actually does in that kind of movement when this is moving the upper arm inwards, right? And so the chest could be divided into three. It is the same muscle, and you cannot completely isolate one of these three, but you can emphasize, you can target one and target one more over another, right? So the arrows I draw here is just to show that it is this adduction going on, but for instance, for the middle chest, where the fibers are going like this, it's going to be movement here, a flat bench press, a push-up, a dumbbell press at that angle, right? Target the lower, they're going more like that. Maybe you want to do dips, right? Or a high to low cable fly, for instance, would hit the lower chest a bit more. And then the upper chest, obviously it's here. So your incline bench press and dumbbell presses, for instance, right? And so a big part of my chest training philosophy is prioritizing the upper pecs. And I'd kind of been thinking and doing a little bit of that, but it was when I saw Mike O'Hearn that, I've taken, he's a completely different kind of bodybuilder than I am, but I've taken a lot from his training, right? And when I heard him say it, it's like, yeah, that's just so true. That, like, if you look at any guy, whether he's training or not, you usually see something going on here, but not too much here. Have you ever seen someone where you feel like, oh, their upper chest sure is overdeveloped? No, it just isn't gonna happen. So I think for that, like that superhero look, and it's a big thing for the yoke, for the uncommon sense physique, right? To prioritize, have a big upper chest like that. It looks like, honestly, it looks like front traps from certain angles. Like when I had the sun, from here, I saw my shadow here walking in Greece. I saw these like things that were actually my upper chest. But also, we're going to be a little bit scientific, go all Jeff Nippert on this. Jeff is good, I don't want to make fun of him too much, but when you do an incline bench press, you're going to develop the entire chest well. When you do a flat bench press, you're going to develop some upper chest, but not just as much. So it's like these two things that I think you actually should want to develop your upper chest a little, preferentially a bit more. But even just approaching it that way will work out well for the entire chest, okay? And so one of the easiest ways for most people to get a bigger chest would be a bench press, a barbell press, right? Just getting stronger on that, but not necessarily your 1 rep max, but just the weight you use for your working sets. So 5 to 8 reps would be my typical approach, right? And then it's just that what I would do many times now is that on my push day, I have for years prioritized the incline bench press. I have 1 push day per week. I have an upper day when I do presses too. But I would just in many cases want to prioritize the incline bench press. If you have pressing with a barbell on 2 days, of course you can have flat on one of them. I do that right now, but it's more because I have a strength goal there as well. So I do get in my incline dumbbell press afterwards too. That's the upper chest exercise, right? And so we move on, like we're talking about what's good for who a little bit. The barbell presses, like I said, for a lot of people, it's just big compound. It's like easy for a lot of people. But especially longer, like lankier individuals with long arms, if you like bench pressing, it's impossible to not build any chest from it. So, but it might not be the best option for you because it might be so much of an arm exercise actually. And then some people, where it isn't so much about their height and stuff, they will just have shoulders that tend to take over when you're locked into position. So you're always going to have to audit yourself a little bit and assess what am I want. So I want to bench press, but what do I need? Do I need something else to actually hit my chest over my arms or shoulders, right? So for that kind of person, a dumbbell press that I usually see as more of a secondary exercise, but that could be approached as a main exercise if you do that first of your workout. Because for some people with longer arms, or that just have shoulders that take over, you know, the freer movement, and also being able to pick a little bit how you perform the movement more. You're not completely locked to the bar. Might be a better option. Even the ring push-ups too, and we just get to more specifically those exercises in a while. But yeah, the dumbbell presses are excellent. If you do flat or incline bench press with a barbell, an excellent exercise to follow up with is a dumbbell press on the other, like flat or incline, depending on which one you did with the barbell, right? And so what I love with dumbbell presses is this, that you can get this deeper movement, like, because the bar, it's a great exercise, but yeah, you know, it's going to hit you here. You can go a little bit deeper with dumbbells, and it's also this freer movement. Like we talked about the adduction that the chest does. Of course, that happens even when you're locked to a bar, but you can do that. You can do that, even the contraction part, a little bit more. And yeah, for a while, like the flat bench press, it's good, you know, but it's not the person. I would often like a flat dumbbell bench press more, but it always depends on the program as a whole, of course. And so dips. Okay, dips could be approached as a first exercise or a second exercise when you train the chest. What I'll say is that the way most people do dips is not typically the best way. Like, people will often be like this, and now you probably can't see, but you know, bend your legs upward back like that, and you're going to end up somewhere here doing it. Of course, you're going to use your chest too. But I've suspected for a long time that when you're too upright, you even bring some lats into it. Like, it's not a typical lat movement. We think more about pulling. But if you push your arm down here, close to your body, and feel your lat, you're going to feel that it's engaged. So what you at the very least want to do, of course, weighted dips are good too. And with the dips, just with like with the dumbbells, you can go extremely deep for that big stretch. Just always audit like your shoulder health. Like, none of these things are dangerous. It depends on the context. If you already have super weak, tight shoulders, maybe you have to ease into something like that. But anyway, rather, if you have your foot in this little banana position, you want to have your feet just pointing out a little bit, not in a complete L-sit necessarily, but pointing out a little bit and be a little leaning forward like that. But there are two variations I come up with that really, I did the dips, you know, and more as a strength exercise. I like getting stronger on dips. But then I just started playing with it, and I tried taking a weight belt I would use for weight, you know, around the waist, put it on my neck, really kind of for fun, first time. But I realized it puts me forward like this, so I just naturally end up in a position where I press in front of me a bit. Now the lats are not going to be able to do much, and ever since I found that variation, I have to use a bit less weight, but man, does it isolate the chest better. An easier variation over this is to just tuck. If you lift your knees, now I can show you because I'm not in the position, but you would see that when I lift my knees, I naturally go into a little more leaning forward position too. And when we're talking dips specifically for building chest muscles and not just like a cool strength compound, I would prefer some of these, but at the very least that you make sure you have some kind of leaning forward position for this. Then push-ups, look, we're talking about different levels, right? Like, if you're super weak and you just do a few push-ups, of course that's going to build your chest. Quite quickly though, push-ups on the floor is going to be a bit easy. So the best ways to do push-ups, like adding weight somehow in a backpack or something, of course, great. But one of the best things, emphasizing this stretch, is, you know, it is beneficial for hypertrophy, right? So if we do something, again, the push-up has kind of the same problem as the barbell press, that the floor, in this case, in the way. So if you can elevate your hands somehow, you could even stack books or something if you're at home. You can get way deeper, get that big stretch, and suddenly you get way more out of the exercise. Like, I would prefer always that you do a push-up for hypertrophy in this manner. But like, even if you're strong enough to add weight to that, but using parallettes or something, right? But the push-up, this is again, I would often see it more as a secondary exercise, but you could put this, like, especially with added weight and elevated hands, it could definitely be sort of a compound. Ring push-ups, it's an exercise that definitely can be approached as a main exercise for chest. It's such a, you know, you can influence, there's so much to be said about it. We're gonna get to flies, but realize that presses and flies, they are not either or. They're a little bit on a spectrum. Like when I'm here, I'm like very much in a sort of press and now here I'm in a very pure fly. But there are things that are a little bit in between here, right? And so you can really find forms with something like, even more so with ring push-ups, I'll say, than the dumbbell, because you're lying flat on the bench still with the dumbbell press. If you can move freely like this. With ring push-ups, you can like set the height with the rings, and you can change around your body. There are many little tweaks you can do, but you can get that deep stretch. It's one of these, depending on the angle, you can target more, or you know, where you put your feet, you know, so you hit more upper chest than that. But honestly, it's like, it's such a big movement. I felt like, even when doing it on a flat angle, kind of, it just lights up the entire chest so well. But this one, especially if we're talking for the long-armed individuals, you know, that the bench press maybe with a barbell maybe doesn't target the chest so well, to the ring push-up and go a little further on the fly, like not end up in this straight, like you would with a barbell press, but make it into at least a bit more of a fly, you know. It's going to be a great option. I'm going to bring it back soon into my own program. I love them. But for me, I would typically have it as a secondary exercise. Okay, so fly variations. Honestly, I find that the flies is not something you have to do. It would be, because of course I've never had that the chest is like a hard muscle to target for me. So if you're someone that like really struggles, like your shoulders or whatever are taking over in many movements, you know, you might have to try to address it, like get really specific with angles and stuff and strict with form to find a fly that hits your chest. But what I say is the cable flies that people love, when you stand and look in the mirror and you look all good with the lighting and that, is a very overrated exercise. It's like, it's not so good. The angle with the cable, the stretch, even if you go out into a lengthened position, it doesn't put so much stress on the chest there. And it's like, it's okay. And I even like just to finish with a pump sometimes, but it's just not going to be the most important exercise at all for building the chest. I've more recently really gotten into the dumbbell flies. Like I had them in my program for a while, and I will some days auto-regulate and swap a press for more of a fly. But with dumbbells, like you can get into this, because now instead of the cable that's pulling somewhere there, the dumbbells are going to pull straight down in that straight lengthened position. You can like really whoop. No, but you get a great stretch, right? And then what you have to be, again, because these exist on a spectrum, you have to always be honest with yourself when you're moving up in weight. Are you starting to do something more like a press? Because there is something in between. What I like to do with the flies is, if I start out like this on the last set, when I like squeeze one rep there, now I drop into some kind of semi-press / fly to get just a few more reps. But the dumbbell flies, like they take it so much more, like you'll feel it. Compare a cable fly to the dumbbell. Tell one which felt like it like hit your chest. More like that, right? So, okay, now we've gone through, like I said, I put that at the end, the machines, like, of course there are machines that are good, and it's a little bit like, it's quite individual with these things, because it's like, even when we're talking about incline presses for the barbell and dumbbell, like the exact angle where you hit the upper chest the best is not going to be exactly the same. It's probably going to be within the 30 to 45 degree range, but someone might, on a bench where you can have many alternatives, someone it might be better with 37 than 30 or something, you know. For me personally, I found that when I go to 45, I definitely, the shoulders start to take over more. 30, closer to 30 is better for me. But yeah, machines also. It's like there's one flat pressing machine in the gym I go most to now. And it's just something about, it goes quite deep. It's pretty much a full stretch, and it just very, very, very much isolates the chest for my anatomy, you know. So I like that one. But so, of course, they can serve a purpose or fill a spot in a program. But yeah, programming is just... some muscles would make more sense to just be like, oh, it's leg day, for instance, or it's back day. Because legs, it's like huge muscle group. You have the glutes, the quads and hamstrings, which are all among the biggest muscles in the body, right? And a lot in the back when you train the big movements for the legs, right? And the back, there's also so many, like running up along the spine, the lats, the upper back, the different traps, rhomboids. There's so many things, right? So these muscles, it would make more sense in a program to have a leg day or a back day. To have a chest day, however, it's like, it might be quite a large muscle, but it's just one muscle there. Like a back day versus a chest day, it's so much less muscle that's going to get worked. So it's typically what you can have is, because I would put it on like a push day and a push-pull legs together with shoulders and triceps, or an upper body day, or of course if you do full body workouts. But no matter which of those you do, of course, if that's like a point you want to bring up more over others, of course you can have like a push workout where the exercise selection is more, you know, targeted on chest. It's like chest focused push workout. It's just quite a stupid quite a stupid day to just have a chest day, 5 sets or 5 exercises of chest, where there's going to be some triceps and shoulders inevitably anyway, you know. But so programming, apart from just on what kind of push pull, that like push upper full body, or a gentleman split, natural hypertrophy style, but I would say for me, it's honestly right now on my upper days I have 2. I have the flat bench and the incline dumbbell press. I have my push day where I have the incline bench press, and I've done a floor press now, which is more of a strength exercise. But so 2 to 3 exercises twice per week. That's some sort of, like, of course you could split it, depends on the split, but that's how I typically approach it and program for clients, right? Like, I noticed that for me, certain muscles I can work more often. The chest, honestly, if I just get good work in, like twice, it's like it takes a long time to recover. It's always been one of those muscles. Like, even when you train a bench press, you don't get so tired from the entire exercise, but man, does it, like, the chest needs a lot of time to recover. That's what I feel like. But of course, it's going to be a little bit individual. Typically though, for most people, twice per week, 2 to 3 exercises, around 3 sets per exercise, right? And yeah, that's it. I mean, if I just want to drop some tidbits, is that I'm a big fan of intensity in drop sets, you know. So for instance, today I did on my incline dumbbell press, sometimes I would just drop the dumbbell the last set, squeeze it together like this. It's very interesting how much you feel that in the chest when you do it in that fashion. Today specifically though, I felt for dropping them and just switching to 2 dumbbells and going to dumbbell fly. On bench presses with a barbell, I have done drop sets, but I don't think you have to. It's like heavy enough, it works well to just go close to failure, progressively overload in weight. With dips too, like if you have a weighted belt, or you know, you could drop it last set, rep out like that. Ring push-ups, you can also adjust your form. Like I've done a very flyy ring push-up, and maybe if I want to again get out a few extra reps, something like that. Yeah. No, wait, yeah guys, that's it. Big pecs natty. So let me know which one would you like to see next. If there's one that, because I might have a plan, but if there's like one I see in the comments that, oh, most people want to see this, then I prioritize that one. But please like and comment as always, guys. Share your approach, please. It's interesting, educational for everyone. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually, becoming that man or woman that just manifests a epic superhero physique from their way of being, the person that they are. It's actually person building. So if you're interested, you can send me a DM on Instagram or email me. It's in the description below. Pick up my training book, everything training, philosophy, mindset, technique, information related you need to become a self-reliant, jacked and stacked individual. And please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. Get big pecs. Peace.